Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the series. We're in the tail end of Mark chapter 12. It says here that Jesus sat down opposite the place where the offerings were put and watched the crowd putting their money into the temple treasury. Many rich people threw in large amounts, but a poor widow came and put in 2 very small copper coins worth only a fraction of a penny. Calling his disciples to him, Jesus said, "I tell you the truth, this poor widow has put more into the treasury than all the others. They all gave out of their wealth, but she out of her poverty put in everything, all she had to live on." I can't help but notice the contrast here between Jesus singling out this poor widow after he has just warned the people against the hypocrisy of the teachers of the law. One of the things that he said about those guys who should have looked after the poor was this: they devour widows' houses. Such was the judgment on these guys. He's berating the teachers of the law, the religious establishment, for their hypocrisy and their cruelty, and he's praising this poor widow who he says gave all that she had to live on. This is a woman who gave just 2 small copper pennies into the temple treasury. Now, I've heard that it said that these money boxes were shaped like trumpets, and basically whenever you put money in there, the coins in there would make a noise. So the more coins that you put in, the more noise that you made, the more fanfare that was realized, and the more people took notice. And for a poor person like this widow to come along and put 2 small copper coins in, it wouldn't have made much of a ripple at all. No one would have noticed. But the Son of God did. Jesus did. And he called his disciples together and he said, "Look at this. This is a heart of generosity. This is someone who knows what it is to give. This is someone who knows what it is to worship God, to love the Lord her God with all of her heart, all of her soul, all of her mind, all of her strength, who knows what it is even to love others, to love her neighbor as she loves herself." These are the 2 greatest commandments. And here is a woman, a poor widow, whom no one would normally recognize or take notice of, who is exemplifying these 2 greatest commandments. And what is also striking to me is that she was a poor widow. It was the poor, and it were the widows and the orphans to whom these offerings should have been going to. The Old Testament is full of commands to God's people to care for the widow, to care for the orphan, to look after the poor, to be generous to the poor and the needy. She should have been a recipient of this money in this offering box, but instead she's a giver. But rather than come with her hands out, rather than come with a victim mentality or a poverty mindset, she comes with a generous heart, with one that is full of life and love to give to God and to give to others. What an example, and what a challenge to us today. What can we take from this? Well, there's no room for a poverty mindset or a victim mentality in the kingdom of God. The principles of worship, of generosity, of giving without expecting anything in return are so clear in this short little story. This is a challenge to me. Let this be a challenge to you. We can always increase in our levels of generosity, but let it be known that it flows firstly from a heart of worship, from a heart that loves to give and not just to receive.